Welcome everyone, and thank you for joining today's how-to session. So just a few words about the framework. So the how-to sessions are a practical format focused on soft landing topics for startups. The series is aimed at international startups relocating to Berlin or opening a German entity and newly established startups currently scaling in Berlin. We will actually run 6 to 8 how-to sessions by the end of the year, covering topics such as business angeling in Berlin, setting up a local presence, financing and public funding, and other regulatory growth topics. I will also put our LinkedIn profile into the chat so that you can check out the program for the next month. And on today's topic and why it matters, today's topic is opening a business bank account in Germany, as you know. It's often more complex than founders expect, and that's why we're doing the session today. The typical challenges may include the chicken and egg problem, company setup versus bank accounts, or anti-money laundering regulation, especially for third-country funders, unclear requirements around residency or local presence, and questions around timing in the world. How is today's session agenda? So we have 3 presentations of 20 minutes each, almost. There will be a Q&A after each block, and the format is actually interactive so that you can use the chat in order to put your question, and we'll check this between each block. This will be recorded, or it's already recorded, and you could will have the chance to have the link. We will share the link after the session. The speakers. So we will start with block 1 under the legal framework with Raphael. So a few words about Raphael. For over 15 years, he and his team of startup lawyers have supported international startups and scale-up with all legal challenges of building and expanding tech companies, with a strong focus on market entry to Berlin. Raphael is a dual qualified German and French lawyer who leads the Berlin and Paris offices and is actively involved in La French Tech. Then we will move on to block 2 with, I would say, traditional banking with the Berliner Sparkasse, with Visa. And Visa has been working at the Berliner Sparkasse for almost 10 years now, after holding several roles in the retail banking sector and building his own sales unit. Within the company, he has been advising and supporting startups for the past 3 years, and he serves as a key contact for topics such as account opening, payments, financing, and much more. And then we will finish with block 3, with digital banking and Qonto with Alexander. Alexander is a business developer at Qonto Germany. He is shaping the company's partnerships and sales channel around tax advisory and advisory services, connecting the dots between fintech innovation and the professionals who need it most. So now with that, we'll start. So let's get started. And I'm very happy to welcome the startup lawyers and Raphael to kick us off with the legal framework. So yeah, Raphael, the stage is yours now.
Thank you very much, Anne, and welcome everybody to today's session. My part is rather framing the main topic of the workshop today, as the workshop is not in general about opening a bank account in Germany, what may be not that challenging, especially if you want to open a bank account as a German in Germany. But what we are talking about today is opening a bank account, especially for foreign founders or scale-ups and startup teams from abroad coming to Germany to expand their business to Germany. And this is sometimes not that easy. That's why we are here today. My part is yet not to talk about how to open a bank account. That's going to be done by the following speakers, by Alex and Visa, taking over the bank part. I'm starting to share my presentation, which is about how to incorporate a company in Germany. And to successfully incorporate in Germany, you need a bank account. And that's what we are going to talk about in my part today. As Anne mentioned, we are a startup law firm working for 15 years already exclusively with startups, and 90% of our clients have an international background, either being founders from abroad, uh, having decided to settle in Berlin to start their business and venture, and or scale-ups, as I mentioned, from all over the world, choosing Berlin as the place from where they try to expand their business to the German market. This is a bit about our firm. When we met a few weeks ago in Paris in a cafe with the whole team from Milan and Paris and Berlin. One step back, before deciding whether or not to open an entity in Germany, you need to ask yourself, is it really necessary to have a company in Germany? Or can I, given the case that I already have a business abroad, can I just expand my existing business activities to Germany without opening a brand? I think most of the participants today are rather founders who start creating a company for their startup in Germany. But in case you already have a startup or scale up abroad, you have also the possibility to employ people in Germany, a sales manager for the start, for example, without creating an entity in Germany. You can also have a branch office, or even without a branch office, just have a company number under which you can employ people and pay the social insurance contributions and so on. So one question you might ask yourself before incorporating in Germany, do I really need a company in Germany? Once the decision is made that you want to incorporate in Germany, there are 99% of the founders in Germany go for a GmbH or UG setup. A UG is a simple and smaller form of the GmbH, which has not many differences apart from the fact that a UG can be started with a share capital of theoretically €1. Most of the UGs still have a share capital of at least 2,500 to 2,000 euros, because it's about the costs you already have at the start for incorporating, for the lawyer, for the notary especially, and the commercial register fees, for the accounting setup and so on. So a company with only €1 share capital is possible, but would risk to be regarded as insolvent in the moment it is created, because it does not have enough money from the start on to pay the costs of the incorporation itself. So normally a UG is recommended also to have a share capital of at least at least 2,000 euros. Apart from that, the regulations for UG and GmbH are very similar. You can have one or several shareholders. There's no limitation. Then you have a small difference in a UG, that you have to put aside 25% of the annual free cash flow and to provide this, to contribute that to the share capital during the first years. And the setup costs of the UG are slightly lower, uh, given the fact that there are some possibilities to really use standard documents where you don't need too much legal support, and the notary costs are a bit are not as heavy as they are for a GmbH. For costs in general, a UG setup can be done with around 1,000 euros. You have about, when you do it with our firm, around 400, 500, 400 euros of lawyer fees. Then you have around 400, 500 euros of notary fees, and 150 euros for the commercial register. The reason for why most of the founders started GmbH or UG for the start is, of course, what you see here mentioned on the right, the limitation of liability, so that you don't risk to lose your personal money in case something goes wrong with your company and your personal money is not affected. To embed today's main topic, the opening of a bank account, which you find here on the slide under step 4, please have a look at this incorporation roadmap. We have just talked about the first step. First step is to decide whether you decide to create a GmbH or UG. Another reason for why many decide to go for a GmbH instead of a UG is that it has a slightly higher reputation when you're working in rather conservative sectors, working with health insurances or with the government in GovTech, or in health tech with doctors, for example, and hospitals. It is rather recommended to go for a GmbH. This may have a higher reputation. If you are running a software startup, for example, you can also, most of our clients just started with UG because the setup fees are lower than starting with the GmbH. As soon as the decision has been made, you need to gather all necessary documents. Even if you're a German with a residence address in Germany, or a foreigner with still a residence permit and an residential address in Berlin, you need to have to provide your ID, an address, your address, your date of birth, and so on. This setup is quite simple, but what is more challenging is if you have already a company abroad and you want to create a branch in Germany. You need to show that the company abroad, who will hold, in most cases, 100% of the shares of the German to be created entity, you need to prove that the company abroad exists, and you need to prove who is legally able to represent the company. And for that, you need to have to show an extract from the commercial register from your home country. You need to get that notarized with an apostille from a notary in your home country, and so on. There are quite a lot of documentation to be provided, and that is most of the time the point where we come in and help you to gather all these documents, that you have all documentation in place when you start the incorporation process in Germany. Once you have everything in place, including the articles of association, shareholder resolutions, shareholder list, you schedule a notary meeting with us. We have a network of notaries which we can recommend, or you can find a notary yourself. As I mentioned, the costs of the incorporation meeting are around 500 to 1,500 euros, depending on the amount of the share capital, depending, as mentioned before, on the choice of the legal form, whether it's a UG or GmbH. And once you have seen the notary and signed everything in front of the notary reads out in Germany every single word of the document. Then the company is still not incorporated, but you need to prove to have a bank account in Germany. Because before you prove that you have a bank account, you cannot open the company, or the company will not be registered with the commercial register. Means that the notary do not even send over the application for registration to the commercial register without you proving to the notary first that you have successfully opened a bank account and paid in the share capital, which is, to mention that again, theoretically starting from €1 for the UG and 25,000 euros for the GmbH, of which, in case of a GmbH, only half of the share capital, 12,500, have to be paid in at the beginning of the company. And this is what we are talking in the rest of this session today. How do you get that bank account? Anne already mentioned the chicken and egg problem, that you try to open a bank account for a company that does not yet exist. And of course, the banks want to be sure that the company will really be created, that the people, the persons, the founders running the business are serious enough to run a business, and trustable partners and clients as well. So this is what Visa and Alexander are going to explain to you, how you get this bank account. Just me giving you, for the end of my part of the session, an outlook. As soon as you have successfully created a bank account and proven to the notary that you paid in the share capital, um, the notary sends over the application to the commercial register, together with the articles of association, everything signed during the notary meeting before. And then it takes around 2 weeks for the commercial register to register the company with the local court, with the commercial register. After the registration of the company, there's still several other steps to be done, like the registration with the transparency register, the business registration, Gewerbeanmeldung in German, with the local community, and the registration with the financial authorities, with the Finanzamt. There's a long questionnaire called Fragebogen zur steuerlichen Erfassung, which is a very beautiful German word again. As soon as that Fragebogen zur steuerlichen Erfassung, questionnaire for incorporated companies, has been filled out and sent to the financial authorities, you will receive your VAT number, which you can then use and have to put on your invoices. Let me see, there is, this is just a check-up list for the documents you need in case you incorporate a daughter company from an existing foreign company. As I mentioned before, step 2, you need to have a certificate of existence to prove the existence of your company, to prove who's able to represent the company, and so on. So just to repeat again, this is the lawyer fees we mentioned. We have already gone through all that. The whole process, maybe here mentioned under step 5, typically takes around 1 to 4 weeks. So gathering all the documents may be something slowing the process down, in case you need to prove the existence of a foreign company. In case you just are all based in Berlin with a resident permit and residence address, then normally we can prepare the documents for incorporation within 1 or 2 days, then arrange a notary meeting, and then often it takes a while to get a bank account if you are of foreign nationality. So this is sometimes that can really slow down the whole process a lot, and that's why it's a very good idea to have Alexander and Visa here today to explain how to speed up this, how to make sure and prepare before, what can be done and what is necessary to open a bank account. I already went through these checklist with the steps that need to be done after the incorporation. Just here, this is a look in our portal, how we would guide you when you ask the startup lawyers to help you with the incorporation. We have a client dashboard, where our client portal, where we go with you through all the different steps and support you with everything where you may need support. We are really there for foreign founders who may have difficulties with not only understanding words like Fragebogen zur steuerlichen Erfassung, but may have various questions. And in case you're interested to test our client portal, you can also access that and send us messages and ask questions around the incorporation in Germany. And in case you're interested to work with us or to get a free account for our client portal where you find a lot of answers to your questions, just send me an email to thomas@startuplawyers.de. You find the address here, and I'm happy to support you with my team when landing in Germany.
Good morning, everyone. Also from my side, it's a pleasure to be here. My name is Visa Ferrisi. I work for the Berliner Sparkasse, which is the biggest bank here in Berlin. You can see our logo all over the city, basically. We have roughly about a little more than 1 million customers here in Berlin, which means almost every third person you meet here is a customer of Berliner Sparkasse. And we also do have around about 60,000 business customers here at us with the bank, which means if you decide to bank with Berliner Sparkasse in the future, you will work with a bank which has a lot of experience. We have been around since 1818, so more than 200 years now. And as I said, you will work with a bank which has a lot of experience in all the bank-related topics, basically, obviously from accounts, payments, obviously also loans, since we are a bank, international payments, national payments, insurances, basically all the good stuff you can think of when it comes to the bank, basically. And we also do have experience with foreign companies or foreign people coming here to Berlin to either set up a new company or relocate or open an entity here in Berlin for their existing company. Me personally, I work in the startup department of Berliner Sparkasse. We have seen that digital innovative companies, startups, have certain needs which we try to meet by basically setting up a team which is only taking care of startups. Me personally, I work with roughly 80 startups here in Berlin. My colleagues also in basically the same amount. So we roughly work with 200 to 300 startups only here at Berliner Sparkasse. Even though I'm in startup team, I can still answer you general questions if you, not a startup per definition, let's say. Which means feel free to contact me on the last side. I will have my contact details. If you have any questions regarding the bank, I'm happy to assist you in one way or another, just to make the bank side of things as simple as possible for you so that you can focus on your business, basically. So what is our exact offer? It's a lot more than that. I try to focus on a few highlights. Obviously, let's start with the right part. We do financing as a bank, even though this is not the focus here today. So wanted to mention it. If you're trying to enhance your growth, or you just need money basically to speed up your company, we are your first partner here in Berlin. We work with special business loans, which are subsidized, and we use the programs of the KfW or Investitionsbank Berlin, which is good for founders because with those programs they get a rather lower interest rate with the loans than they would get with a, let's say, regular bank loan. From the business account side of things, you will have a personal support with us, which means you have a personal advisor, which you can always contact via mail, phone, as you like. So with us, you don't need to talk to chatbots or wait for responses over weeks. We try to be as responsive as possible. Also with us, you will be able to get an IBAN within 24 hours, which means if you're just setting up a company here in Berlin, you went to the notary, you can send over the documents to your personal advisor, and he will be able to provide you an IBAN within 24 hours. So you can pay in the starting capital to get the notary work done real fast. We are also, since a few months, even though we are a rather traditional bank, let's say, we are able to open the bank accounts almost paper-free. So you will not be having to visit a branch to hand in any signed documents or to go to the post. We can do this, as I said, almost fully digitally, which I think is also a great thing. And we do have also a special offer for startups. You'll have our business account 1 year for free, which means even if you have an existing bank account somewhere else, you can just test us, let's say, and see if our services and products fit your needs. This is free for the first year, basically. So yeah, nothing to lose there, I would say. We obviously also offer extra services. I will mention this a little later. Also, for example, like business credit cards. They have a price, but they do have also a refund option, as mentioned below. If you turn over 7,500 euros with the card within a year, you get the fee back. So yeah, also a good thing. And we advisors also do have a broad network in Berliner Sparkasse, which means if I'm not able to cover any topic, I know experts in Berliner Sparkasse which can help you out. For example, when it comes to international payments, which might get a little tricky if you're doing it outside of European or outside of the SEPA realm. So we can also obviously cover these topics. Then for our last offer, we have a broad network here in Berlin. We work with a lot of public financial institutions. We have contacts to the Business Angels Club, to the Investitionsbank Berlin, to IBB Ventures if you're searching for investors. We also do cooperate with Berlin universities, like the Freie Universität Berlin, the HTW, BHT. We do founders competition with them and just try to add value to the startup ecosystem here in Berlin by also sponsoring events. We are very open to that. And we also do cooperate with the Business Plan Wettbewerb here in Berlin. If you've just started your company and want to get some feedback on your business plan from qualified persons, let's say, and you can also win a little prize money, I would highly recommend to have a look at the Business Plan Wettbewerb. And last thing, we also do networking events on our own with different partners here in Berlin, where we also sometimes have investors or just the opportunity for you to meet people which can fuel your business, where you can get new perspectives, meet persons who you can potentially cooperate with in the future. So yeah, this is also something we do offer here at Berliner Sparkasse. We are a regional bank, which means we know a lot of people in Berlin. We can make intros if that's needed. If you have certain needs, we can feel just free to contact us, and we'll help you out. So here on this slide, you have the cooperation process. I think this is quite similar to the one Raphael mentioned. I will just go quickly through it. You go to the notary, you have your articles of association or shareholders agreement, however you want to call it. Once you went to the notary, you go to the bank and share your documents. They will open the account. You're paying the starting capital and then continue from there on with the further process. Again, Raphael mentioned this earlier, so I'll try to keep it a little shorter here. One thing I want to add here as a tip from my side, please take care of the transparency register as soon as possible, because the portal there, it's a little bit tedious to find the right buttons, and from my experience, this process takes way longer than it should. So just try to clear this thing out as soon as possible, because we can only unblock the account when we have the registration at the commercial register, which also takes a little while, and the transparency register. For the Einzelunternehmen, the process is basically the same, I would say, apart from that you don't have to pay a starting capital, and the documents which you need to hand into the bank are a little bit different, because you're not GmbH or UG. There are less documents you need to hand into the bank. So it will be the Gewerbeanmeldung in German, the business registration. And also, the usual documents which you need to hand in, like your ID, for example, contact details, tax ID. Let me say the usual things. I hope that answers your question, Zina. If not, feel free to answer afterwards. On this slide, I have some do's and don'ts before and after opening the bank account. Let's start with the don'ts, maybe because it's more simple and no money laundering, please. Kind of a joke here. We obviously don't want this to happen at our bank, and we obviously don't support any business models which include, let's say, sex work, anything which has to do with weapons or guns, anything which has to do with anything which is basically excluded by the law. We won't support that. Obviously, the do's on the other side are a little bit more interesting. Before opening the bank account, since we are a regional bank here in Berlin, we need you to be located here, so you should have some kind of Berlin connection. Either the company is situated here, or you are. If you're coming from abroad, you should have a registration here in Berlin, or you should have installed a manager here in Berlin, so that we can always have a contact here, which is really important for us. Then you should make sure that you have all your documents ready before you approach the bank, just so to make the process faster, so the bank doesn't have to contact you again because something is missing. It's always good to have the full stack of documents in advance. Most banks have a list of documents required on their website, so you can just ask either your advisor there, or you have a look at their websites, just to make the process a little faster. Third thing is the extra services you should think of. Do you need a credit card? Are your limits set up properly? Is there any other product you might need from the bank apart from the business account? You can always get in touch with your advisor to see what might be interesting for you and what might be not interesting for you. So you can just get in touch with the bank and see what options you have. We don't work on commission here at Sparkasse, which means if you buy a product with us or not, my salary slip will look the same at the end of the month. After opening the bank account, you should check if everything works properly. Do you have a limit which is sufficient for your needs? We at Sparkasse have included in our online banking process so-called user administration, which means you can add users to your online banking, give them certain rights. For example, if you have somebody who does your bookkeeping, You can give them the rights to only check for transfers on your account, not do any transfers. If you have very different opportunities there to just get your setup properly and allow access to your online banking in your company for people who basically need this. Also transparency. This is regarding anti-money laundering. We don't block any transfers here at Berliner Sparkasse, at least not in advance. If you have, try to be as transparent as possible. If you know there's a big amount of money coming to your account, let's say investors' money from abroad, outside of European Union, the bank might ask you afterwards, hey, where's this money coming from? Could you maybe provide documents regarding this payment? So it's always good to approach the bank in advance to just be as transparent as possible. We are regulated from a European Central Bank as Berliner Sparkasse, so we have to focus a lot on these transparency things and anti-money laundering, which I think is a good thing. You just need to consider this in before. And the third thing, use our cooperation partners. We have a lot of corporations. You can look on our website. For example, Lexware Office, which is a bookkeeping software. You'll have 50% off there for the first year. If you book this via our online banking, it will also be connected then to our online banking so that you can manage the taxes properly. Because every payment will be basically transferred to your bookkeeping software and vice versa. So feel free to use this. Also connect your account to Datev to just have your tax advisor able to have access to your account and your transfers to just make both of your lives easier, basically, and also save some costs because the tax advisor won't have to work through your transactions manually, but they will be just transferred from the online banking via Datev. So this is also definitely something you should do after opening the account. What we offer at Sparkasse is you can do a short video call with us, 10, 15, 20 minutes, so that we can also onboard you properly and give you some tips and tricks like I just did. Which I think is a good service from us. So feel free to contact us. This is my last slide. I mentioned the loans. I know this is not the focus here today. We are trying to focus on account opening. Just wanted to mention again that we work with subsidized loans. They have lower interest rates than regular bank loans. And here you will find a list of required documents. If you're interested in that, if you have created the company already, and if you need a loan for your growth, feel free to contact me. Yeah, and here you have my contact details. The QR code brings you to my LinkedIn. Feel free to connect with me or visit me in one of our 2 offices. We also have the opportunity to visit you, obviously, and you will also find my email address, phone number. I don't know if this presentation will be shared afterwards from Berlin Partner.
Yes.
Perfect. Then you can, just feel free to get in touch with me if you have any questions bank related or just want to have a chat with me. That's it from my side. Looking forward to questions now. And thanks again for having me.
Hi, everyone. Good morning. My name's Alex. Over the next 20 minutes, I'm going to walk you through exactly how the process works, what documents you'll need, what to avoid, and how to save yourself some time while opening a business bank account. Of course, there might be some doublings with the other talks, but I'll do my best not to reiterate too much. Okay, so a quick word about myself. I work in partnerships and business development at Qonto. My day-to-day usually involves working with tax advisors and ecosystem partners who are helping entrepreneurs set up in Germany and in Europe. Obviously, also with the tax advisors, it's oftentimes just that they recommend Qonto to their existing clients. Before we get into the details, let me get you a quick overview of Qonto so you understand who we are and why we're qualified to talk about this. Qonto is a digital business banking account, which is designed specifically for SMEs, freelancers, and startups. But we're not just a bank account. So we also bundle in all sorts of financial tools you need to run your business. For example, we do invoicing, expense management, receipt capture, accounting preparation, and we also offer access to financing in one single app. So the thing about financing, we are not a full bank yet. The license is in progress, so we can't give out loans ourselves. So we have partners through whom we do this. Our plans start from €0 a month, so you can have basically a free plan which shifts the cost structure towards the transaction costs, or you can pay a monthly fee and then you'll have some transactions and all that included. The plans who cost money start at €9 per month and go up to 200, which are then the enterprise plans. So maybe not something for you to worry about right now. Yes, we offer 7 days a week customer service, 24 hours a day. So you can call anytime and get help while setting up your business. Okay, let me show you some numbers now. We are not even remotely as big as the Sparkasse, of course. All over Europe, we have about 600,000 customers, but we are the market leader for digital business banking. We have our markets include 8 European countries, so we're not all over Europe. We operate, for example, our biggest markets are Germany, France, Italy, and Spain, but we're also in like Belgium, the Netherlands, Portugal, and some other countries. We have so far supported 250 company creations, and we are quite highly rated on Trustpilot. Of 4.8. I don't know if you've ever tried to look up financial institutions on Trustpilot, but that is super high. Our competitors don't even remotely get close to that. Just to brag a little, as I said, we offer 24/7 personal customer service, which is actually also personal. Like we also do have a chatbot, but you don't need to use it. So there is an actual person you're speaking to. Support is available in German, English, French, Italian, and in Spanish. And we have 1,600 employees. So lots of people still see us as a startup. I often get asked if it still is a startup. And people are often surprised by how many employees we are by now. We are regulated by BaFin in Germany and ACPR in France. Sorry if you're French and I butchered that. And so this is not a gray area. It's an actually regulated fintech, financial institution, if you will. Okay, so let's get into some substance. This is the agenda. We have 5 main topics. First, we'll talk about the bank account setup process itself. Second, we'll go through the required documents. Then the AML review. AML stands for anti-money laundering. Then I'll show you some common pitfalls to avoid and some time-saving tools. Then let's start with the basics. Okay, so the first step is your business account. If you're founding a company in Germany, your business account is not optional. It's not something you do later. It's literally the first thing you need to do if you're starting a business, and everything else depends on it. So some concrete examples would be you cannot register with the Finanzamt, the German tax office, without a business account. They need your IBAN to process your tax registration and assign your tax number. You also cannot hire employees without a bank account, of course, and you cannot sign most office leases. Same with raising funds. Your investors will wire money to your bank account, of course. So if you don't have one, you can't receive any money. And so the business account is the backbone of your entire operation. Without it, you're stuck. So the good news is, especially with Qonto, but it doesn't have to be painful. So it's not rocket science. And I'll just show you the two main options you can choose from. You essentially have two paths. So you can go with a traditional bank like Sparkasse, or you can go with a digital bank, a neobank like Qonto. Qonto is obviously the best of the neobanks. And so the key differences are with a traditional bank, you're typically looking at an in-person appointment at a branch. As we just heard, obviously they are phasing that out and becoming more digital as well. But there still are some banks that are not quite as advanced as the Sparkasse apparently is. So an appointment with the weaker traditional banks that are not as quick might take 1 to 4 weeks, depending on your bank and location, to get. While with Qonto, the entire process is 100% online, can be done in as little as 24 hours. And obviously, you can do it whenever, so you can also do it at 4 a.m. Furthermore, lots of traditional banks are still German first. I mean, most Germans speak pretty okay English, so it's not going to be too big of a problem, but sometimes the forms are still in German or are hard to understand for a foreign person, while in Qonto, everything is English first and honestly pretty easy to set up. Both banks give you a German IBAN, but do look out, some neobanks don't. So I'm not going to name any names, but some of our competitors actually give you, for example, a Latvian IBAN. Another key difference is that traditional banks still have physical branches, which neobanks do not. That is sort of the definition of a neobank. And another thing is the accounting tools that are integrated. So traditional banks are catching up, of course, but with Qonto, key thing of ours is that we are super digital, super technological. So we have a lot of native integrations with every single accounting tool you can think of. Everything is like 2 clicks away. You can set it up and it's done. Another thing, for example, is the Dativ integration. I don't know how it is at Sparkasse, but with us, the Dativ integration is free. I know for a fact that with Deutsche Bank, it's 60 euros to set up and 20 euros a month to keep it going. So many founders actually use both. You can integrate another bank account into Qonto, use our transaction overview and our Dativ integration. And so you don't have to go either or. You can also set up an account with, I don't know, Deutsche Bank, get our 19 euro plan, which includes this, and you will be saving the 60 euro sign up money and 1 euro a month, and you can use our, you can use some of our functions in addition to the bank account with Deutsche Bank. Okay, so the next slide. This slide is the slide I would like you to pay the most attention to, because this is where most international founders get stuck. We call it the chicken and egg problem. So the situation is the problem is to register your company with the German commercial register, the Handelsregister, you will need a German address, not a PO box, but a legitimate business address. But to open a business account, most providers require that your business is already registered. They want to see your Handelsregisterauszug. And here's the kicker. To actually complete your business registration, you need a business bank account to deposit your share capital. For a GmbH, that's at least 12,500 euros. And for a UG, it can be as low as €1, but you still need the account. So you need the address to register, you need the registration to get the account, and you need the account to complete the registration. It's a circular dependency. And it can absolutely paralyze you if you don't know how to break out of it. So how to break the cycle? Step one is get a German address through a virtual office provider or a co-working space. Lots of options for that in Berlin. Companies like Rent24 or WeWork specialize in this, and it's a valid registered address, so you can get rid of that problem quite easily. Step two is start your company registration and your bank account application in parallel. This is the key insight. With Qonto, you don't have to wait till your Handelsregister entry is fully processed, and you can just apply for a bank account for your company in formation. Then step three is once your bank account is open, you deposit your share capital even while the Handelsregister entry is still being finalized. So this way everything moves forward simultaneously instead of sequentially. And if I leave you with one key takeaway from this entire presentation, in fact, it's to start everything in parallel, not one after the other. Just do it all at the same time. So that can save you quite a few weeks, like 4 to 6 weeks. Okay, so I actually prepared a step-by-step sequence that Qonto recommends, and if you follow this order, you'll avoid the chicken and egg trap and minimize the delays you're going to face. So first of all, secure a German address. As I just mentioned, just do that through WeWork or whoever. Then, second of all, prepare your documents. I'll show you the full checklist later, but the key message here is get everything together before you start the process. Don't start and then realize halfway through that you're missing something. Step three is draft your articles of associations. So the Gesellschaftervertrag in German. This is the founding document of your company. And if you're forming a standard company, you can just use a template. For anything non-standard, you will want a lawyer. Then step four is register your company. This involves a notary appointment and filing with the Handelsregister. So the notary will verify your identity and authenticate your founding documents. Step five is just open your business account. As I said, you can do this in parallel with step four. Step six is to deposit your share capital. Afterwards, to register with the Finanzamt, the tax office, who will assign you a Steuernummer and VAT ID. This usually takes 2 to 4 months, but I mean, it's Germany, so sometimes it'll just take way longer. That's just how it is here. Step eight is then to set up a payroll and accounting tools if you need them. If you're hiring employees, you'll of course need payroll from day one, and connecting accounting software like Datev early will save you lots of time and also some money later. One more thing. Of course, the pro tip is that Qonto actually offers a company creation flow. So we handle paperwork, notary appointment, Handelsregister filing on your behalf. It's fast, fully online. You get personal support through the entire process. So if you want this as hands-off as possible, use that option. You can just find that on Qonto.com. Okay, so let me quickly walk you through what the Qonto account opening actually looks like in practice. It's super simple. The entire application takes 10 minutes. You first verify your identity via video identification. So it's just a 5-minute video call. Then you upload your documents digitally and you enter the remaining details in our online flow, which will just lead you through it. And that's it. That's done. That's it done. Then you just wait to have to be verified. Once your account is approved, you'll of course want payment cards to start operating. Your physical MasterCard will be delivered within 24 hours if you want that, but even before, you can use a virtual card, which you will then just have in your phone. But you can also use them for online payments. They work right away, so you don't have to wait for anything. So point is, The day after you open your account, you are fully operational and you can pay for things, subscribe to tools, and start doing everything you need to do. Right, so let's talk about documentation. This is where a lot of founders lose a lot of time. I cannot stress this enough. Prepare everything before you start the account opening process. Coming back to provide missing documents can add days or even weeks to your timeline. And I've seen this happen to quite a few less organized entrepreneurs who have taken forever to open their bank account because they just had to redo things and forgot to, I don't know, do UBOs and all that. I mean, you can see the documents you are going to need here on the screen. I'm not going to go through everything right now because we've heard a little about that already. I won't bore you again. My strong advice is just to create a folder and tick off every item on this list before you begin. As I said, incomplete documentation is the single most common reason for delays. Another thing is if you are a non-EU founder, there is an additional step you should be aware of. The enhanced AML review. So AML, as I said, stands for anti-money laundering. It's a legal requirement for all financial institutions in Germany and the EU. So every account opening includes a standard KYC, which means know your customer, in contrast to KYB, which is know your business. But there are certain factors that trigger an enhanced review, which is going to be your problem if you are not from the EU. So some things that trigger it are if you or your shareholders are non-EU nationals. Second, if your business involves international transaction or cross-border revenue. And the third is if you are in what regulators consider a higher risk business sector. That includes crypto trading, fintech, even some types of consulting, and so on and so on. And the fourth is if your account shows significant cash deposits or unusual transaction patterns. So that'll trigger further review. And it's going to take a little longer to get approved to the bank account. It takes about 3 to 10 days, depending on the complexity of your situation. And again, here, the more complete and organized your documentation is, the faster this goes. If the bank has to come back to you with follow-up questions, that'll just stretch the process pretty long. Don't be alarmed by this. It's a standard regulatory process. It's annoying, yes, but just prepare for it, have everything ready up front, and you'll manage, you'll live. Okay, let me now share some common pitfalls for you guys. The 6 most common mistakes I see international founders make are, so number 1 is assuming your existing EU account works with German payroll. There's a really common misconception. Even if you have a business account in, say, France, you will still need a German IBAN specifically for payroll. So German payroll providers and tax authorities do want a German bank account for salary payments. So don't find this out the hard way. Just do it before you try to pay your employees. Pitfall number 2 is mixing personal and business finances. In Germany, this is quite messy and can create some legal and tax problems. If you're running a GmbH or a UG, the company is a separate legal entity and its finances must be completely separate from yours. So you better open a dedicated business account for the company. Pitfall number 3 is incomplete documentation. I've already covered this. Please get your documents ready. Pitfall number 4 is not having a German business address. Again, I already covered this. Then the last thing is the pitfall number 5, confusion about the company structure. So you can choose from a GmbH, a UG, GBR, like the business form, I don't know, legal form. Each one has different requirements, costs, and implications. And if you're not sure which one is right for you, do consult with a legal advisor, a Steuerberater, tax advisor, before you start the process. You can find a list of partner tax advisors with Qonto on Qonto.com. So I'm sure at least one of them is willing to help you out if you ask them. Okay. Pitfall number 6 is underestimating the timeline. So the full process takes quite a while. It's going to take from 2 to 8 weeks opening the whole bank account. So don't underestimate this. Yeah. But then banking is just the beginning. So we've covered how to get your account set up, but opening the account is really just the starting line. So once you're running, you got to ask yourself, how do you manage your finances? And nobody loves doing bookkeeping or any other financial management because you do want to work in your chosen field and not in bookkeeping. So this is where Qonto comes in. On the left, you see a picture many of you will recognize. Saturday night, sitting there doing your finances, doing your taxes, whatever. While you could be doing the picture on the right, actually meeting partners, brainstorming with your team, or as I would do, taking your Saturday off. So the tools I'm about to show you will help you move to the right picture. Qonto bundles 3 key capabilities into one platform that work together to reduce your administrative burden. The first is digital invoicing, so you can create and send invoices directly from Qonto. You can also, of course, see whether they have been paid or not. You have automatic payment reminders, all that, and that makes it much easier to get paid. Second is digital receipt management, so you can snap a photo of a receipt with your phone. Qonto will automatically match it to the right transaction, extract the data, and send it, for example, via Datev to your tax advisor. So that might save you about 10 hours of work a month. And the third is what I already said, the automatic data synchronization. So here you can see Datev, Safdesk, Lexware, some of our partners, but we, of course, offer many more integrations. So no manual exports. I mean, by now, almost every bank has this, but of course, we also do. And we are partnered up with Datev specifically, so we are a bit ahead of other neobanks in that regard. Qonto is not just a digital product with no human presence. We are, as I said, 1,600 employees, but far less in Berlin, Germany. The German team is not huge. You can see us here on our last summer party, and we do our best to actually make sure you have a good experience. Everyone here is happy to help you if you ever get stuck. And you're not just getting an app, you're getting a partner with local expertise and personal support. Okay, so that's it from my side. I went a little over time. I'm very sorry. Thank you so much for your time and attention. And I'm happy to take any questions.